right, good afternoon everyone. How are we enjoying the program so far? On this set we're doing the music of Hoagy Carmichael, and I would normally prefer to start with playing before talking, but this first number is just so special I have to tell you what it is in advance. It's from a recording session on Halloween 1927, where he also recorded the very first recorded version of Stardust, Hoagy's most famous composition. He's best known as a composer, of course. On this, it's with a group also billed as, in the discography anyway, as Emil Seidel and his orchestra, but it's under the name Hoagy Carmichael and his Pals. And his first number, I believe, is one of Hoagy's compositions. It's sometimes a little bit difficult to tell. But Hoagy is playing piano on this record, and in the middle of it, the other pianist steps in while Hoagy walks over and plays a cornet duet. So we have the wonderful David Boeddinghaus to recreate Hoagy's piano solos. And Jan Kaiser here is going to play Hoagy's cornet playing. And we have several lineup changes throughout this set, so I'll introduce everyone as we go along, save a little time. So here's Friday Night. 1, 2, 3. Clarinet playing there by Richard Exall. It's an impressive, technically difficult alto saxophone playing from Michael McQuaid. Not to mention something my cornet player's ears wouldn't have caught, that there's a tenor guitar on this record, and that's Martin Wheatley playing it for you. So now we're going to play the other side of that, which is Stardust. Hoagy does not play any second cornet, so Jan is done for the moment. And this has a fascinating unaccompanied piano solo. Not only is it 33 bars long for no apparent reason, but it clearly shows the influence of all the contemporary classical music that we know from so many sources that Hoagy and his close friend Bix Beiderbecke were checking out. The cornet player on this is very clearly influenced by Bix, and Hoagy's piano solo just sounds straight from Stravinsky or Ravel or Debussy. as much Stravinsky influence as there was in that last one, there's all the more impressionistic influence in his piano playing on this, and I just think it's fascinating to hear that. And David Boeddinghaus had already transcribed this piano solo when I made up my mind that I would like to perform this. So thank you, David, for doing all that work. How did you know? we're going to make rather a drastic personnel change. So while all that action happens up here, I'm going to tell you about the next two numbers. And these are oddities in several respects. Eddie Lang and Lonnie Johnson made several duo recordings that are kind of the Bible for guitar playing. Not just jazz, but later styles of music, of American music anyway, continue to build on that foundation. Every rock and roll and blues guitar player knows who Lonnie Johnson is. And even if they don't know who he is, they're still playing his licks. Not to mention Eddie Lang. They'd be playing his licks if anybody could play them, other than Martin and Spats here at this festival. Speaking of Spats, that's Spats Langham joining us on the guitar. Anyway, they made a lot of duo records, but on these two sides, there's a pianist, J.C. Johnson, who wrote both of these compositions. There's Hoagy playing percussion for some reason. I would love to know whose idea this was, because as you'll see, it's moderately successful. An unidentified second mystery second percussionist, and our mystery second percussionist is Josh Duffee, around here somewhere. He'll come in at some point. And the cornet player on these is credited as being King Oliver. And there's some debate about this. Some people believe that it's Tommy Dorsey. based on matrix numbers of records and who was in the building at what time and on what day and such and such. And without wading into that argument myself, I don't hear anything that glaringly can't be King Oliver. It sounds like King Oliver to me, but then again, plenty of people in 1929 were trying to sound like King Oliver. And I'm going to try to sound like King Oliver in 2023. So this one is called, are we all in place now? On this side, Lonnie Johnson, who will be portrayed by Martin Wheatley, did some singing, which Scats is going to do. So Spats is going to do the scat singing of Lonnie Johnson and the guitar playing of Eddie Lang. And I'll be King Oliver, and I'll see you all on the other side of this. Blue Blood Blues.
You're all a nice bunch of guys.
How about Nick Ward on Hoagy Carmichael's percussion part? As Josh joins us to play some pitched percussion, this next one is called Jet Black Blues, also by J.C. Johnson. And I have a sneaking suspicion it is King Oliver on there. I hesitate to take an official position, however. By the way, hearing guitar parts like this is a little beyond my cornet player's ears again, and Martin Wheatley has very kindly transcribed much of the important bits of Lonnie Johnson, and the less important bits he's improvising himself, and you'd never know. How about it for Martin Wheatley? All set? Okay, here's Jet Black Blues. You got this.
1, 2, 3.
time just especially for that guitar duo. Holy smokes. Can you believe I put the thing I know I would lose right where it should be, and then I didn't think it would be there, so I didn't look there. All right, as we switch back to a more or less of a standard 10-piece size dance band type thing, this next one, well, it's a silly song, frankly, and you'll know it from the Popeye the Sailor cartoons. And Spats is going to stay up on vocals. We're adding Emma Fisk on the violin. Jan, Dan, and Richard are back, and we're also adding Lorenzo Baldasso to round out the reed section. He's been doing tremendous work so far, his first year here. We're all very happy to have him. Anyway, on this record, Biggs is on it, Benny Goodman's on it, Gene Krupa's on it. It's a really hot band for such a silly song. And Joe Venuti, famously always the trickster, took it upon himself to improve the lyrics. And that solemn duty falls to Emma Fisk. So it's in her part. We're all over 21 here, aren't we? Okay, good. Oh, and the other thing is, the trumpet section is Biggs and Bubber Miley and Tommy Dorsey's on trombone on this. Like, why is this band so good? We're going to record this silly song that was in a commercial. You know who we need? All the best jazz players around. Okay, fine. It's our game, if it's a bit of a head scratcher. All right? Here's Barnacle Bill. Oh, I'm going to do a little singing on this too, so if you would leave this mic on, please. Thank you. 1, 2, 2, 2. Cheeks and black your eyes. Barnacle Bill the Sailor. Well, as silly as that was, the other side of that record is pretty serious. And again, it features all these incredible jazz soloists of the time. At this moment, Tommy Dorsey is in his Jack Teagarden phase. Early on, you'd be forgiven for mistaking him for Miff Mole, and then a few years later, he sounds just like Teagarden before eventually evolving into the Tommy Dorsey that we all know. And the hardest working man in show business over here, I think he's had more sets than anyone else today. How about Dan Barrett? So this is the stock arrangement, and I picked this rather than transcribing it because it says on the chart, written and arranged by Hoagy Carmichael. And then on his own recording session, they go changing it all over the place. But I think there's some nice stuff in here. So it's a hair different than the record. But here's the stock arrangement, played as if we're them, of Rockin Chair. Spats is going to do some singing, so am I.
Came by my side, fetch me that gin, son, for a 10-year high. I can't get from this cabin.
You ain't going nowhere.
Nowhere. Just sitting here grabbing at the flies round my rocking chair. Do you remember Aunt Harriet?
How long had haven't she been, Pappy?
Send me a sweet chariot for the end of the troubles I've seen.
You see them, Pappy. I won't let Rockin Chair get you.
Judgment Day is son, I'm chained to my rocking chair.
This one was recorded in 1930, and it's a very familiar jazz standard you'll all know, but it's a pretty unusual arrangement. Among other features are quite a bit of bells of some type. What is it, Josh, exactly?
Orchestra bells.
Orchestra bells, thank you. And there's a section that's voiced with trombone lead over clarinet trio. which is a very unusual, ethereal, strange sound. Even the opening chorus, the melody is in the clarinet, but all the way in the low register. It's just very unusual scoring. So I transcribed this myself for this with generous help from Michael McQuaid, and it turned out pretty well. This is the 1930 version of Lazy River. See. On the record, it's not written up a lazy river, the way it always is from then on. I don't know what's up with that, but this is Lazy River.
Lazy river by the old mill run, lazy river in the noonday sun. Linger in the shade of a kind old tree, throw away your troubles, dream a dream with me. Up a lazy river where the robin's song awakes a bright new morning, you can loaf at night. Blue skies up above, everyone's in love. Up a lazy river, how happy we will be. Up a lazy river with me.
By way of Keith Nichols, so we're very happy to have access to all of his library. Klaus has a lot of his charts printed out, and Michael has access, so what a resource to still be able to draw on. Thank you, Keith. And here's Bessie Couldn't Help It. 1, 2. She was pretty as the heavens above. Oh boy, how that girl could love. Best confection, that was simply wonderful. Oh, Bessie always tried to do the very best that she could. Oh, you could. And when she smiled, you were bound to fall. That's all. Man kissed Bessie in a taxi one night. Why, oh, why did she yell with delight? Bess couldn't help it any more than you could. Folks, we thank you all for listening to us. It looks like we're just about back on time, too, so we've got one more song before we all take a dinner break. And once again, I just want to hand for all of these fabulous musicians, and there are so many that I'm going to list them all, but I particularly want to thank those that I asked to join this set after I realized just how varied this program was and realized we needed more people than had initially been assigned to it. So, Josh Duffee, we're adding brand new now on second trombone. Spats Langham, all that same. And David Horniblow is joining us on the bass saxophone. This last number today is another of Hoagy's most famous compositions, and most people know it from the Ray Charles version, but most people are surprised to hear that Ray Charles did not write this song. Hoagy wrote it and recorded it in 1930. And there's an amazing Bix Beiderbecke solo, which I'm going to do my best with. There's also great Jack Teagarden on it, and Dan Barrett is the man for the job there. Spats is going to sing this one as well. Just a great song all around. And I didn't have access to a transcription, so I've transcribed this myself, again with help from Michael McQuaid. So this is a first outing of this piece of paper. Speaking of these pieces of paper, I need to thank my wife Anna for taping all of our parts. Stuck now. How are we looking? Okay. An interesting fact to 3 or 4 people in the room will be that the bass saxophone on this, pitches are definitely heard that are below the possible range of the bass saxophone. And that would seem to indicate that it's a contrabass saxophone, which was not previously known to have been used by Min Laybrook. And a friend of mine who knows a lot more about these sorts of things, Jay Ratman, who plays bass saxophone and every other kind in New York, told me that there's a sort of aural illusion. If there's a 5th played in the low register, sometimes it can trick your ear into hearing another octave lower. And he thinks each one of those notes that are too low for the bass sax is really that happening with the piano's left hand. So, like I said, 3 or 4 people were interested to learn that. So this will conclude our Hoagy Carmichael program for today. Thank you once again. And by the way, my name is Mike Davis, and it's a thrill to be here. Georgia on my mind. And Josh is going to conduct this little intro for us. Georgia, the whole day through, just an old sweet song keeps Georgia on my mind. Georgia on my mind. Georgia, Georgia, a song of you comes as sweet and clear as moonlight through the pine.